Okay, so remember our derivatives of important functions, right? The derivative of sine is cosine, cosine is negative sine, and if you do this little thing, you can kind of figure out how it goes along. E to the x is an easy one, it's just e to the x. Natural log of x is 1 over x, right? And we worked through quite a few of these. I'm pretty sure we were on the back yesterday, right? Oh, you messed them up. Ah, yes. And you'll see these kinds of questions a lot, and I kind of actually like these questions. They're like little puzzles here. All right, so we want to find p prime of 0, but before we find p prime of 0, bless you, then we have to find p prime, right? So we're going to start with p prime of x. Okay, so we go term by term. What is the derivative of 7? 0, so we don't need anything there. Then we have negative e to the x. The derivative of negative e to the x is negative e to the x. Very good. And then plus 2h prime of x. So what do you think the derivative of h prime of x is? H double prime. Prime prime is double prime. 2h double prime of x. Okay. Now that we have all of that, we want to find p prime of 0. So p prime of 0 equals negative e to the 0 plus 2 times h double prime of 0. So now what is negative e to the 0 power? Negative 1, very good. How do I know what h double prime of 0 is? The table, yes. So I go to the table, h double prime of 0 is 3. So I get negative 1 plus 2 times 3. That's 6 minus 1. P prime of 0 equals 5. Okay, not that bad, no. Okay. Then let's see this one. Okay, q prime of x. We go term by term. What is the derivative of e to the 3rd power? 0. Good, because that is a constant. E is just a number, so it's just plain old 0. Don't do anything weird with it, and don't repeat it there. So then I have negative x to the e power. Okay, now I have x as a base. I have e as an exponent, right? So just like if it was x squared, I'd take the 2 and multiply it out front, right? So this is going to be negative e times x. And then what do we do with the exponents? Subtract 1, so that would be to the e minus 1 power. Everybody good with that? All right. Plus what? E to the x. Do you think that there's any way to combine those two terms there? No. The answer is no. All right. But, so it's cleaned up. We just need to substitute in now. So q prime of 4 equals, do you need me? They can finish it. Yep. They can finish it. Don't finish it. Finish it. You can do the next one too. You don't need me. Oh, let me pause. All right. So we get negative e to times, negative e to times 4 to the e minus 1 plus e to the what? 4th. Okay. And does that look ugly? Yes. Is it okay? Yes. Yes and no, right? It's okay. It's fine. That's just weird. But nobody expects you to know what e to the 4th is. I know I did want you to know last year we were graphing just like the ballpark of what e was just so we could estimate some things, but we don't even need to know that anymore. All right, so did y'all take this derivative? No, or you just sat there and waited for me? All right. I told you to do it. You're worried. I appreciate that you're worried. R prime of x equals, okay, what's this one going to be? F prime of x plus, what's the derivative of cosine? Oops, negative sine. So I'd put a plus. I could put my negative sign, but I don't want to make it worse. So negative 2 sine of x. Oh, should I have rewritten this? Probably, and I didn't realize it because I didn't look, but that's okay. I can do that right now. So this, I'm going to make that into negative x to the negative 2. Would you agree with that? Okay. So when I do that, negative 2 times negative x becomes positive. And then before I write it, that's going to be x to the negative 3rd power, right? So that I can go ahead and just write it as 1 over x cubed. Like, you don't have to write it as a negative exponent. You can go ahead and jump to that if you want. But if it helps you to leave it like that, it probably depends on the problem. Ask me. I did. Negative 2 times negative x, that's why it's positive. Is that what you were asking? Wait, this negative? This negative. But see, it's a negative 2 times it is. Oh, yes. Yes, I see what you're saying. I was like, it is positive. I did that right. But I missed the 2, right? So yes, I'm supposed to have a positive 2 in the numerator. I was more worried about my exponent. Thank you. Sorry about that. Thank God it's Friday. Okay. Oh, they're the Omega kids. Okay. No, well, sometimes, but they usually come by during a homeroom or Mav time, and they scream. But I usually don't hear them this late. That's why I was a little worried. But okay, yeah, he's having a good old time every time I walk down the hall. He's something. It makes me laugh. R prime of 3. He's just so happy. Equals f prime of 3 minus 2 times the sine of 3 plus 2 over 3 cubed. Okay, and I was still thinking about when I had that brain glitch about the cosine of 1 yesterday, and I was like, wait, what? No. Do we know what the sine of 3 is? No. It's okay. We leave it as a sine of 3. The only thing we can't leave, so I don't have to simplify this part. We will. And I don't have to simplify this part because I can't, but I cannot leave this like this. All right, like you have to actually put the number in there. So f prime of 3. So let's go up here. Do I have an f prime graph? No. I have f, right? Oh. So f prime means at 3, what do I need? The slope. Okay? And can you find that slope? No. Why not? Sharp turn, right. So it's the cusp. Very good. So that means that r prime of 3 is undefined. Even though some of this is defined, undefined plus something that's defined doesn't matter. Okay? We good with that? Okay? Is it good kind of going through all these different things, hopefully? Because then we're going to get into some other patterns. I'm going to start, I still have a couple copies done, but I'm going to start taking this off at the bottom. We can just praise Brian Passwater because his stuff is amazing, but his name's in the way. The legendary, he is a legendary. He's been a calculus teacher for years and years and years. He does a lot of trainings for College Board. He teaches calculus up in like one of the I states, Indiana, Illinois, I don't know, but it's out in the hood somewhere. Because he was teaching at a very affluent school, and so somebody came to him and is like, hey, would you really like to really make a difference? Like, come help these kids. So it's almost like that Stand and Deliver movie. I don't think they were that rough necessarily, but you know what I mean? He took some kids that didn't have upper level classes, and like he's just, and his passing rate isn't always phenomenal just because he's got some low kids in there, but he's getting them through it, and they're going to do better in college. So, but he's a great guy. He has good materials, and we're using some of his stuff. We're adjusting some of it, but anyway, that's who he is. He's pretty amazing. I know. I've met him before. It was kind of exciting. All right. So s prime of x equals. So what is this first thing going to be? F prime of x plus, what do you think? H prime of 1, yes. And then, what's the derivative of the natural log? 1 over x, so it'll be minus 1 over x. Okay? So then I want s prime of 8. That's equal to f prime of 8. Plus, we can go ahead and, what is h prime of 1? 4, okay. It is 4 minus 1 over 8. So again, we don't have to simplify this part, but I have to put something in for this. So s prime of 8 equals, All right, do I have an F prime graph? No, but I have an F graph. Oh, shoot, I'm moving the wrong thing. I have an F graph, and it was of 8. So here's 8, which means I need the slope here, right? Is this slope positive or negative? Negative, and it's a negative 1. Very good. So this is negative 1 plus 4 minus 1/8. And we'll just leave it. Should we be capable of putting it all together? Yes. Are we capable of it? Yes. Yes. You better be. You are. Do we need to do it, like, for reals? Okay. I just want to make sure we really can do it. You know how to get common denominators. You can do this. All right. Now let's look at this one. W prime of x. Okay. What is the derivative of cosine? Negative sign. So that means this, since this is a negative 5, this will be a positive 5 sine of x. Okay. And then I want to rewrite this as 3 times x to the negative 1/2. Okay. So I'm going to kind of put this together all in one step. And if you're not comfortable with that at this point, you can, write it out separately. But I'll take this negative 1/2 and multiply it out in the front. So I know I'm going to have a negative 3 over 2, right? And then that negative 1/2, I'm going to subtract 1 from it, and it gives me what? Negative 3/2. Good. Which means it's going to go in the denominator, yes? And it's either a cube root or a square root. What would it be? Square, because it's 3/2, so it's a square root of x cubed. Okay? So I could have written negative 3/2 times x to the negative 3/2 power. That's fine too, but once you get the hang of it, I think you can kind of start putting it together. But if you start messing that up, then back up a step and start writing it out again. I don't want to jump to that too fast. Okay, so W prime of 4 equals 5 times the sine of 4. Which, do we know what that is? No. Minus 3 over 2 times the square root of 4 cubed. Could we simplify that? Yes. Do we need to? No. Do we want to? No. I don't want to either. Even though it's fine. Okay. So on I, you don't have to rewrite it, but I would suggest that you rewrite this as 1/3 e to the x, just so you don't do anything weird with the fraction. Okay, it's just a coefficient out in front. So we want u prime of x first. Okay. Now it's just 1/3 times e to the x. What's the derivative of e to the x? E to the x. And then times 1/3, basically now I can just put it back like it was. But I think when you separate them, it helps you not do something weird with it, to think through it. All right, then negative sine x. What's the derivative of sine of x? Cosine. So this would be minus cosine of x plus what? F prime. Very good. All right, so now I've got u prime of 1 equals e to the first over 3 minus the cosine of 1, which we don't know, even if we think we know, plus f prime of 1. Can I stop here? You having a moment? You thinking about cosine of 1? Yeah, that's what happened to me yesterday. It's the cosine inverse of 1 that we know. Cosine of 1 we don't. Yeah. I had that same. I was like, wait, no, I know it. Nope, no, I don't. U prime of 1 equals e to the, e to the first can just be e over 3 minus the cosine of 1. Even if we did know what it was, like even if it was cosine of pi halves, which we should know at this point, if I don't have to calculate it, I don't have to calculate it, right? So then just don't, but you can't leave an x in there. Plus, okay, f prime of 1. So we go back up here. Look at my f graph. At 1, what's happening? Cusp, right? Which means that my answer is undefined. Very good. All right, what questions do you have? Are we good? Okay. Okay, I don't even know what happened to my stop button. It's gone too. I'm telling y'all. I just did it. Where did you go?